možemo možda krenuti ako se svi slažete. Chris, do you think if it's okay to start? Yeah? Okay, good. Thank you. Evo, lijepo pozdrav svima još jednom. Ispričavam se što smo malo čekali, evo imamo malih tehničkih poteškoća, ali vjerujem da smo ih riješili, a drugo, evo, čekali smo malo da nam se pridruži veći broj naših kolega. Vjerujem da će se kroz sastanak možda još neko uključiti, ali evo potrudit ćemo se da sastanak i snimimo, a i sve informacije uvijek možete pitati mene, Zorana, ili možemo proslijediti upit Krisu, tako da smo tu uvijek za vas. Evo, današnji zapravo je jedan od prvih webinara od 3 koje će se održati u narednih nekoliko tjedana, a sve na temu jačanja spremnosti hrvatskih lokalnih vlasti za digitalizaciju uprave. Dakle, to je ona konferencija koju smo bili početkom travnja održali u Zagrebu i moram priznati evo da su bile vrlo dobre reakcije na to. Ono što nam zapravo slijedi je, znači tamo ste dobili nekakav općeniti pregled o kakvoj inicijativi zapravo riječ i što se sve unutar nje radi, a sada ćemo malo dublje ući u sve tematike. Znači, ovo je inicijativa koju vodi Europska komisija, odnosno DigiConnect, i zapravo cilj je da se pomogne svim zajednicama unutar Europske unije, da se one osnaže, da im se ubrzaju svoju digitalnu transformaciju, neovisno o stupnju trenutne digitalne zrelosti, bilo oni na početku ili su već zreli. Tu smo jedni za druge da bismo međusobno razmijenili iskustva, primjere dobrih praksi, da bi se mogli povezati možda sa nekim drugim zajednicama i zajedno iskoristiti nekakve projektne mogućnosti itd. Znači, na današnjem webinaru zapravo, evo, malo ću zaustavit ću jedan čas sebe i pokrenut ću prezentaciju. Pa evo, to je ovdje, vidite svi. Znači, kroz sljedećih par tjedana ćemo održati tri, kao što sam rekla, webinara. Danas je na redu prvi od njih. I tema mu je zapravo planiranje. Na današnjem webinaru istražit ćemo kako digitalizacija zapravo podupire ciljeve zelenog plana Europske unije, što je isto izuzetno važno. Uputiti vas u strukturiranje vaše digitalne strategije sa alatom u Lordima s koji ste također čuli na konferenciji u Zagrebu i pomoći vam da se razvije prilagođen plan digitalizacije za svoju zajednicu. Evo, ovo je nekakva agenda za danas, znači sve bismo trebali proći kroz nekih sat i pol. Odslušat ćemo ove snimljene sesije i na kraju ćemo imati omogućeno vrijeme za postavljanje vaših pitanja i dobivanje odgovora. Pa, znači, za početak, evo, krećemo sa postizanjem ciljeva dekarbonizacije uz platformu za misiju gradova, gdje će nam Eugenija reći malo više o tome. Pa evo, krenimo.
Hi everyone, my name is Jačanje. I am Senior Policy and Projects Coordinator at Eurocities, and I'm coordinating the work with new cities joining the Cities Mission Platform that is supporting the 112 mission cities becoming climate neutral by 2030. So today I'm going to give you a short presentation of the 100 climate neutral and smart cities mission, give you an understanding on how cities that are not yet part of the mission, so not part of those 112, can take part. And you're going to learn about the support that the mission platform currently managed by the Net Zero Cities project will offer to cities going forward. So I will start with a presentation of the mission, explaining who can join this new program that we are building, and then how we are planning to expand the mission platform support services. with activities that will be online, focused on learning, will be between peers at the EU level and between peers at the national level. So we are on a mission. What does it mean? The European Commission has launched a mission for 100 climate neutral and smart cities by 2030 in the last mandate, with the objective to achieve 100 and in this case more, because there are also cities from associated countries not part of the European Union, so 112 climate neutral and smart European cities by 2030. And to ensure that these cities can act as experimentation and innovation hubs to help all other cities in Europe to follow suit, to be inspired by these innovative approaches and new ways of working that the selected cities are piloting. And all this work that has been launched and it is supported by the European Commission, it is managed by a project that is called Net Zero Cities, with the mission platform, which is the support structure for the work of these 112 cities, that is providing cities with world-class expertise and services that are tailored to their needs to achieve this very, very ambitious goal of climate neutrality in 2030. The way the mission cities, so the 112 mission cities are doing that, is through a series of deep transformation in the way the municipality works and in the way the municipality works with the other levels of governance and the other stakeholders in the city. So they do that with setting up a transition team that works cross-cutting in the different city departments. They have city advisors that provide them support, expertise, and really tailored guidance. They follow specific steps. It's climate transition map that I go back to in a moment, which is basically the blueprint for reaching climate neutrality. They can access city learning programs to deepen their knowledge on specific topics linked to climate neutrality, both on the governance aspects or on the innovation technology aspects. There is a portal, an online portal that is available for them to exchange with others and to access all this wealth of resources. And then the real key of all this work is the Climate City contract that you see here on the slide in this road to climate neutrality, which is the planning document of the municipality, and it lays down the actions, the resources, the timeline for achieving climate neutrality by 2030, and it's accompanied by an action plan and an investment plan. What is very important about the climate contract is that it is a contract. It is not just signed by the municipality, but it's also signed by the other actors that in the city contribute to this work. That includes businesses, privates, universities, academia, citizens, organized civil society, and so on. And then they can benefit from pilot projects. So this pilot city program that is financing specific projects in cities, a training program to put them in contact with other cities in Europe with a mutual exchange of knowledge and good practices, and a capital hub that is helping those cities to connect with the public and especially private financing based on these investment plans that they're building. But going actually beyond the 112, we said it 1 second ago, the mission is not only about delivering 100 climate neutral and smart cities by 2030. It's also about making sure that these cities can help others to follow suit by 2050. 2050 is the target year that in the European Green Deal the Commission established for reaching climate neutrality for the whole European continent. So what is very important is actually that we are able to capitalize on the tremendous transformations and the enormous work that these 112 cities are doing, and to try to make sure that other cities can learn from the approaches that are implemented. And when we talk about the mission approach, we identified 3 key elements to summarize it in a more comprehensive way. So the first key element of the mission approach is the climate transition map, which is a systemic transition pathway. For reaching climate neutrality in such a short time, it's not possible to stick to the old ways of doing things and working in silos or like sector to sector, domain by domain. So this climate transition map is something that has been developed for the 112 mission cities to really create a pathway, a road towards climate neutrality for them, with a journey that is inclusive, that is iterative, where there is lots of co-creation and testing, and where cities are allowed to also experiment. So what you see here are the 7 steps, 7 core elements of the transition, and cities can be at different steps at the same time. So this is something that is really one of the key core elements of the mission approach, and that we are opening up to other cities, to cities that are not yet part of the mission platform, to learn from. A second core element is the deep collaboration. So deep collaboration, it's about really coordinating the action of multiple actors across sectors. So that includes what needs to be done within the city administration, with the setting up of a transition team, with the setting up of all the structures in the municipality to make sure that the different sectors of the administration work together in an integrated way, but also with other actors in the local ecosystem. So here in this slide, you can see local private actors, public agencies, civil society actors, city governments, of course, different, like also utilities of the municipality should collaborate to that, the academia and the research institutions, and having the cooperation actually with all these actors also outside of the municipality needs, as we were saying, this transition team. So these central points of coordination within the municipality to orchestrate the process. And then the third element that we identified as the key for the mission approach is the working with portfolios of actions. So really to act on systemic barriers that address simultaneously several levels of change. So here you see on this slide an example of net zero mobility. What is really important to see here is that the mission approach is really about identifying the trade-offs and co-benefits of climate action in the short and in the longer term, and integrating the portfolio of actions in a way that we are able to estimate actually the contribution of all the different sectors to the wider objective of climate neutrality, and not working in silos. And as soon as you start taking this portfolio approach, you realize that actually there are way more co-benefits and links between different actions that you would have imagined in the first time. And so this work that we are starting with cities that are not yet part of the mission, it's really open. So this work of opening up the mission approach and enabling learning from what's been developed by the 112 mission cities, it's really open to any cities wanting to learn and to embark on a journey towards climate neutrality at any stage they are in their current journey. So it will also be open, of course, to cities that, for example, have not yet even started monitoring their greenhouse emissions. And then depending on their climate commitment, so for example, if they already have a climate neutrality target by 2050, they will have access to different levels of support. And we will get back to that in a second. And this will be done by the opening and training on tools, resources, and approaches developed by mission cities. That will include this climate transition map we were mentioning. And we will also have exclusive peer learning opportunities. So site visits, trainings, learning courses, but also engagements at the national level with peers from the same national ecosystems. And so, yes, indeed, this will be done with a mix of online and in-person learning activities that will start with the use of the Net Zero Cities portal, so this online platform, and including online groups, study visits, trainings, and disengagement at national and regional level. So the work we are doing to expand the mission platform support services will be made mainly of 3 components: online and learning, peer engagement at EU level, and peer engagement at the national level. Our starting point is really that we want the mission platform to be an accelerator of climate action for all cities wanting to becoming climate neutral in Europe. So when it comes to the online and learning, we are working with training for new cities on planning and financing tools, support pathways, inspiring examples from mission cities, and organizing workshops and courses that can also give academic credits. It's something that we are developing a bit later in the program for cities wanting to join. There will be 3 programs for engagement as between peers at the EU level, so online peer discussion groups that will then lead to study visits in person in the mission cities, and trainings between mission cities and other cities. And then at the national level, There will be organization of events in the countries where mission cities are located. So we have work on our work plan, country by country, linking really the work that cities are doing with the wider climate neutrality objectives, to also create spaces for debate and training, including events that can be at the political level and also technical level, mobilizing national stakeholders such as ministries and national agencies, and working with national platforms. And there is also a dedicated help desk for cities wanting to engage in this program that is always available. So when we go to the online and learning, here I just have a few slides with some examples. One of the things that we have developed are climate neutrality support pathways. So it's a curated list of resources and tools that can be useful for cities wanting to engage in this process, that address the needs that were highlighted by cities when we started this program, and will be kept updated with new opportunities. And so these support pathways will really point cities to the right resources, given the challenges that they're experiencing in their path towards climate neutrality, using the climate transition map as a blueprint. Those are the topics of those support pathways, and they're already online on the Net Zero Cities portal since a couple of weeks ago. Then we have tools that have been developed to help mission cities that we are now making available and actually providing more training on how to use them for new cities. Is the finance guidance tool that helps cities to identify finance options and support investment planning, answering to a sort of questionnaire. So if a city has a project idea, they can run it through the tool and find some hints and on where to find appropriate funding for or financing for that specific project idea. And we are organizing trainings for cities on how to use the tool. Another one is the Net Zero Planner, also a very interesting one that is already online, but we want to organize specific trainings actually for our cities on how to use it. It was used already by around 50, maybe a bit less, mission cities, and it's an online cost-benefit analysis tool, which helps cities to create, improve, and track their climate action plan. It gives an analysis of the decarbonization for sectors. It helps to monetize co-benefits, especially health improvements, turning those benefits into financial gains, and something that is very interesting for cities in the moment when they will be developing their climate action plan or revising their climate action plan, is that it can help to test different scenarios and ambition levels, so providing also flexibility to plan for future challenges. Then when it comes to the peer and EU engagement, we have launched online discussion groups with mission cities that are focused on concrete challenges and domains. Cities have applied to participate in these discussion groups, but don't worry because the first group has started, but there will be 2 others going forward in the future. And so if you're interested, you didn't miss the train. And they will be leading to study visits to mission cities, for cities that already have a climate neutrality target. And then we will have a new twinning learning program for 30 cities that will be focused on deep learning from mission cities over a longer period of time. So there will be study visits, but also really in-depth exchanges between expert and city officers in the 2 cities administrations on specific topics and strategies. So they can be also linked to, they can be also useful actually for cities that are not part of the mission, to get inspired, for example, when they will have to revise their action plan, when they will have to increase their ambition to climate neutrality compared to their current commitments, or maybe they already have a commitment that is signed by the mayors to becoming climate neutral by 2050 at the latest, which is a precondition for participating, and they want to understand how to do that in practice, so they can learn from successful approaches in mission cities in a more tailored and really one-on-one way. And then finally, the engagement at the national level. It's not surprising actually how important it is for cities and how dependent they are from the national level to be really considered in national policies, because of course the actions that are implemented at the local level inform national strategies, and the national level has a huge role in providing support and to give him the direction and the right regulatory impulse for changes to happen also at the local level. So in recognition of this crucial role of national governments in climate neutrality, we have a full range of activities that will take place at the national level, with upscaling of successful learning approaches, try to involve cities in the design and implementation of national policies, and also to support cities in creating alliances with different actors at the national level, including industry, academia, agencies, but also to connect among themselves in their national ecosystem, in their national language. And so what we're going to do will be to organize national events with the involvement of mission cities and other cities in Europe and the associated countries, creating opportunities for dedicated technical assistance, organizing awareness-raising events with national policymakers, and enabling cities to participate into existing national projects. And there is also a European project that is called Capacities. You see here in the slide just a snapshot that is also supporting cities to go towards climate neutrality with a very strong national component. So we also have a very close collaboration with these projects as part of the work that we're doing on the mission platform. To conclude, I add here my contacts if you want to get in touch about any of these opportunities, and we also have a dedicated help desk for cities at infocities@netzerocities.eu. So for cities that are not part of the mission yet, but would like to engage with us in becoming climate neutral by 2050. Thank you.
Evo, hvala lijepa Eugeniji na predstavljanju ove inicijative. Samo trenutak da se ja vratim. Evo me ovdje. Nadam se da ste svi sve dobro čuli, da ne vjerujem da biste me naprijed obavijestili. Evo, kao što smo čuli, znači misija Nerozet Cities je zapravo izuzetno važna jer ima ključnu ulogu ostvarivanja klimatski neutralnih gradova na nivou Europske unije do 2050. godine, što je jedan od glavnih ciljeva zapravo Europskog zelenog plana. Zašto su gradovi ovdje posebno važni? Zato što zauzimaju samo 4% teritorija Europske unije, a u njima živi 75% stanovništva koji troše 65% energije i odgovorni su za više od 70% globalnih emisija CO2. Stvarno zanimljiva informacija. I misija je važna zato što gradovi mogu zapravo predvoditi inovacije, testirati te nove metode, modele održivosti koje mogu kasnije proširiti na ostale. Kao što vidimo, ovdje su izuzetno važni taj networking i povezivanje međusobno lokalnih zajednica, a drugo ubrzava zelenu i digitalnu tranziciju donoseći zapravo građanima čišći zrak, sigurni promet, manje buke, manje gužve i zapravo sve u svemu bolju kvalitetu života građana. Dakle, ovaj početak nam je zapravo dao sjajne temelje za razumijevanje kako se gradovi mogu uključiti u misiju klimatski neutralnih zajednica, međutim da bismo postigli sve te smislene mjere, ključno je prvo razumjeti gdje se vaš grad trenutno nalazi u svojoj digitalnoj transformaciji. Većina vas koja je bila prisutna na konferenciji u Zagrebu je čula za jedan sjajan alat koji je Europska komisija u suradnji sa ostalim dionicima razvila u sklopu ovih projekata, a to je alat Lordimas. Na konferenciji smo imali prilike čuti neke od gradova koji su prošli cijeli to ispitivanje zapravo vlastitih digitalnih spremnosti, kao što je to bio grad Split. Čuli smo isto tako da je grad Zagreb prošao. Čuli smo čak i od kolega iz Novog Mesta njihovo iskustvo, a sada ćete malo detaljnije čuti u ovoj sesiji kako procijeniti i pratiti svoju lokalnu i regionalnu digitalnu zrelost s pomoću ovog alata Lordimas. On je inače predstavljen prije 2 godine u Barceloni i ono što, znači neprestano se radi na njemu, ono što su novosti u zadnje vrijeme je da je preveden na hrvatski jezik, tako da ga možete vrlo jednostavno koristiti. Dakle, dok gledate sad sljedeći video koji će vam se biti predstavljen Lordimas, možete razmisliti kako on može podržati vaše digitalno putovanje vaše zajednice i najbolje je da krenemo onda dalje, pa evo gasim sebe, vraćam dijeljenje svog ekrana, pa poslušajmo dalje nešto o ovom alatu.
Welcome back. Now that you've been fully briefed about what Lordimas is and what can offer your community, we would like to guide you through the use of the website. First of all, let's recap. The Lordimas Digital Maturity Assessment is designed to be an annual checkup for your municipality digital journey. Each year, you will track your progress and see how your local government and Europe as a whole are evolving over time. The insights you gain aren't just for your administration. They help shape smarter policies, unlock targeted funding, and enhance services for your citizens. National and EU-level policymakers also use this data to provide better support and resources, ensuring no municipality is left behind in the digital age. Let's take a closer look. Lordimas focus on 7 key areas that are crucial for digital maturity: governance, service design, data management, interoperability, service delivery, technology, and networking. Each area is assessed through the survey we will explore shortly. Based on your answers, a digital maturity score is generated for each topic. This helps you understand how well your municipality is doing and where improvements can be made. Here's where the power of the tool really emerges. You can view and compare results from municipalities or cities using the map and search functions, making it easy to benchmark and learn from others. The higher the number of municipalities that join, the more valuable these insights become. If you want to dive deeper, you can explore the best practices section to see real-world examples of digital success. For example, here you can see the example of Terrassa, Spain, where they developed an online tool to boost citizen participation. This is just one example of cities making a difference with digital solution. We strongly encourage you to explore the different examples you can find in the best practices and dive deeper in the case of Spain, Italy, France, and so many other EU member states that are working with their cities, municipalities, and regions to boost their digitalization. To promote your own best practice, please click on Insert Your Best Practice. You can also select Promote Your Best Practice at the bottom of the web page and complete the form by clicking Submit. A quick click of the survey and you can see that you have instructions, general information that allow you to add all the important ID information about the city and other data points. Also, to provide in detail content about your best practice example, focusing on one topic or multiple topics, and later, your contact details. So Lordima's team can follow up with you and inform you when your best practice was uploaded to the best practice dashboard. The last step, of course, is to submit this form. If you are really willing to join an innovative ecosystem of cities, communities, and municipalities, we invite you to participate by clicking on the Participate tab on the upper right corner and Assess Your Digital Maturity section. To begin, we advise you to download the complete offline questionnaire. By clicking in Download the offline form and verifying that you have all the inputs needed before you proceed with data inputs in the online form. No need to worry, the tool is accessible in all official European languages, so you can quickly change for your native language or preferred language to take the assessment. You can easily also consult the glossary to clarify any doubt you might have about technical terms or about, in general, what topics are covered and targeted by the assessment. If after all doing these consultation activities you are willing and ready to take the assessment, please click in the Take the Assessment button that will take you directly to the assessment. Completing the Lordimas questionnaire online takes less than 30 minutes. Before starting, please check the dashboard here to see if your public administration has already participated in Lordimas this year to avoid duplications. You can do so by using the magnifier icon in your upper corner in the right and just add your municipality name and see if indeed the municipality has already submitted Lordimas. Following this intro page, you will land on the Lordimas survey page. The survey is organized around 7 key areas we discussed before. Each model has a set of straightforward questions that assess where your municipality stands in terms of digital governance. In the Governance module, you will access your digital municipality approach to linking digital transformation with environmental sustainability, budget allocation for digital services, and governance structure coordinating these services. In the Service Design module, you will evaluate the advance of digital service design processes, focusing on elements such as the digital by default principle, agile and interactive design approaches, user engagement, data-driven performance, monitoring, and co-creation with innovation ecosystems. In the Data Management section, you will have to access storage, collection, organization, accessibility, and exploration of your data. Following up by interoperability module, where you will access how easily data infrastructure and services can connect across departments or public administrations, including the use of open source software, open standards, shared data modules, and much more. Following up the service delivery, you will assess the user friendliness and inclusiveness of your administration digitalized public services for all citizens, considering principles such as once only or one-stop shop. In the technology module, you'll assess your administration readiness for an adoption of advanced digital technologies, including big data, virtual augmented reality, AI, IoT, and others. Finally, the last module of your assessment is networking. The networking module, you will assess the extent of your cooperative initiatives for procurement, development, and deployment, or sharing common digital infrastructure services. This questionnaire uses a simple 5-point scale from not at all to fully operational in most sections. Your answers create a clear picture of all your digital strengths and areas of growth. Make sure you reply to all questions marked with an asterisk to successfully submit your assessment. After you submit the Lordimas questionnaire, you can start exploring your data. and benchmarking your city with others. To start, return to the home page and select Explore. Once inside the tool, you will see the different filters listed in the side panel. Those filters include year, country, type of region, maturity level, and city name. An explanation about this dashboard for each of 7 modules is also included in the top left corner of the tool. At the top of the interface, you will notice the horizontal bar. This bar allows you to quickly switch between the 7 different modules of Lordimas, making navigation intuitive. Each module contains key sections such as the maturity level and score of the cities you selected using the filters, the maturity level and score of each indicator within the selection module, the corresponding map which can be used to view the details for each city in a pop-up window by clicking the city icon. For example, in here you can see Ayuntamiento de Madrid, and you can see in the pop-up all the data collected and how they score in the different maturity levels. To start benchmarking, select the benchmark. This feature allows you to compare various European cities for each of the 7 modules of the Lordimas overall. Next, choose the city you want to compare. In this case, we will compare Barcelona in Catalonia with Amsterdam. The Netherlands. As you can see, the results are instantaneous. You can completely understand the difference between the maturity scoring from Barcelona and Amsterdam. What is really useful about this benchmarking and this dashboard is that you can also see across different indicators, such as twin transition, institution, and other KPIs. Thank you very much for taking this quick overlook and tutorial on how to use the Lordimas website.
Evo, nadam se da vam je bilo zanimljivo. Mislim da je jako dobro predstavljen alat i zaista vrlo detaljno prikazano kako ga se može koristiti. Evo, u chat sam vam stavila jedno pitanje, vidim da su neki već krenuli ispunjavati, a to je samo jedna kratka anketa o Lordimasu, pa evo, pozivam vas da pogledate i da možda ispunite. Pustit ću još kratko da pogledate, 2 su pitanja. Kasnije ću vam u chat staviti i link za pristupiti da ne morate sami tražiti. Kao što sam rekla, možete anketu možete pronaći na hrvatskom jeziku kao što ste vidjeli. Anketu možete skinuti u offline mode, tako da možete zapravo pročitati i dobro razmisliti o svemu prije nego što je ispunite. Ne znam, možda mogu primijetiti da u manjim sredinama, u manjim gradovima je anketa možda jednostavnija i brža za ispuniti jer su vam nekako svi resursi na jednom mjestu, pa ćete od 2-3 ljudi možda doznati odgovore na sva pitanja, dok vjerujem da je u većim sredinama drukčije. Ne znam kako je iskustvo grada Zagreba, koliko odjela je bilo uključeno u ispunjavanje ankete, odnosno upitnika i procjene. Da li je to možda zahtijevalo dogovore među više odjela, pa je to i nešto dulje potrajalo, ali u svakom slučaju jednostavan je alat. nemate što pogriješiti, kao što smo čuli na konferenciji u Zagrebu, budite iskreni jer je cilj vam ispuniti to najiskrenije što možete, zato što onda imate puno mogućnosti za dalje napredovanje. Evo samo ću staviti dalje sljedeće pitanje. Samo trenutak, evo još jedno pitanje u chatu, odnosno na slajdu. Evo, Zoran, možeš se uključiti.
Hvala, Francesca, dok prikupljaš odgovore od ostalih ekipa. U svakom slučaju preporuka je i super je stvar što možemo tu anketu, u stvari cijeli upitnik skinuti u offline modu, zbog toga što područja su dosta široka i sigurno jedno, dvoje ljudi ne mogu dati kvalitetne odgovore na to, tako da obavezno preporuka svima da se to skinete, razmislite o pitanjima i pronađete relevantne osobe koje vam mogu pomoći da odgovorite na pitanja. Ono što je Francesca napomenula, znači nije takmičenje, nije sad cilj da imate napuhane vrijednosti, to je kolega Petar isto bilo da govorio o Zagrebu na konferenciji, nego da stvarno vidite Gantt dijagramu u ostalim područjima, da vidite gdje ste realno, u koja područja treba uložiti više truda. To je smisao toga. Anketa stvarno nije komplicirana, imao sam čast sa Petrom biti isto na nekim predavanjima u regiji i sa kolegama u Makedoniji. Praktički uzeli smo jedan blok od 45 minuta gdje su se oni cijeli po grupama i zajednički smo prošli kroz cijeli taj upitnik i praktički ti par gradova odgovorilo na pitanja. Znači nije ništa komplicirano, a možda nije bilo loše što si Francesca bilo postavila isto pitanje kako je Zagreb i Split, kako su pristupali, nije problem čak organizirati jedan call pa zamoliti njih recimo njihov pristup u tome i da prikažu onako sami svoje viđenje toga i koliko im je to pomoglo i na koji način su tu cijelu anketu radili. Evo, tek toliko.
Super, hvala ti Zorane. Ima možda nekakvih pitanja još ili kakvih komentara od nekoga? Prije nego što krenemo dalje. Čini mi se da nema. Pa evo, znači sada kada ste vidjeli zapravo vrlo detaljno kako procijeniti i pratiti svoju digitalnu zrelost pomoću ovog alata, sljedeći korak bi zapravo bio pretvaranje te procjene u konkretan plan djelovanja. Znači znati gdje se nalazite je ključno jer na temelju toga možete napraviti nekakav strateški plan kako definirati dalje svoju digitalnu tranziciju. A u ovome također može pomoći ova inicijativa. Znači u sljedećem sesiji ćete čuti kako napraviti razvoj vašeg plana digitalizacije, gdje će nas kolega provesti kroz metodologiju Europske unije koji su definirali za postavljanje plana digitalizacije. Znači pružaju praktične smjernice o tome kako izgraditi strategiju implementacije koja je u skladu s vašim digitalnom vizijom vaše zajednice u kojoj se nalazite. Pa evo dok gledate možete malo razmisliti kako možete primijeniti ove uvide kako biste izgradili vlastiti plan prilagođen jedinstvenim potrebama vaše zajednice. Pa evo, krenimo dalje.
Hello everybody and thank you for joining this part of the session. If I'm correct, you should all have already been informed on local digital twins and its benefits, as well then on Lordimas, which looks at your digital maturity. During this part of the session, we will be going over how to create a digitalization roadmap, with which we mean take a look at where you currently stand, so another assessment, maturity assessment, as well as then building a roadmap on top of that to eventually implement a digital twin. For that, there's a journey involved. During this training itself, we will be looking at the strategy assessment, the IT infrastructure assessment, and then building the digitalization roadmap on top of that. Within this journey, Lordimas also has a part to play, as that allows you to get to know your overall digital maturity. And the roadmap is followed by procurement support, which will be talked about, procurement templates, those kind of things, which will be talked about after this part of the session in the next part. Then maybe to briefly start with Lordimas, as I mentioned, it looks at your overall digital maturity, which is good to also know because in the end, everything is connected. Additionally, to make sure that what we are doing is integrated with that approach, and also to make sure that there's no double work in anything. We use a few of the questions and dimensions of Lordimas to eventually make the roadmap. So think of you see the ones highlighted here. So you see strategy, data strategy, interoperability, and IoT devices. Once Lordimas is completed, this is followed by the strategy assessment and the IT infrastructure assessment, where the strategy assessment is more to get a view on where you currently are, where you want to go, in terms of your strategic vision, in terms of your organization, those kind of things. And the IT infrastructure assessment is divided in two parts, one looking at which systems and applications and IoT devices you currently already have, and which ones you would like to implement, as well as then taking a close look at your IT infrastructure itself. We'll go into detail on each of these points right after this. So here, a closer look at the strategy assessment. Like I mentioned, it looks at your community's digital ambition and where it currently is, what is it already investing in, and it also looks at where you want to go, what you want to implement, and as well some enabling factors such as do you already have a smart city office that could lead this whole project, and strategic KPIs defined to kind of know whether it will be a success or not. There are a number of different types of questions asked here, so it's not multiple choice and open questions. You see two examples already here, which of the following resource do you share and how extensively defined is your vision? But yeah, these are just two of the many questions in there. What we want to gain from this is an understanding of where you are and how you want to get where you need to go. But to get these valuable insights, we of course need the right participants to be involved in this part of the process. You see some names here, CEO, CTO. In the end, those don't really matter. What is important here that people that have strategic knowledge about the way that the technology will be used in the future, kind of use cases you're interested in, those kind of people are involved in this assessment. Here you see then in more detail the different dimensions that are part of it. So your strategic priorities, vision and objectives, whether or not you have your own platform or share it with different cities or communities, your governance and your strategic KPIs. Once the strategy assessment is done, it is followed by the IT infrastructure assessment, where I mentioned it consists of two parts, one looking at your systems and applications and one looking at your real IT infrastructure. Here you see what we kind of mean with the first part. So you see your IoT devices, they create data that is then used in your systems or applications. And then if you would go a step further, really integrate different data, integrate different use cases into a single platform, you have your local digital platform where you have a good view on all your data or all relevant data, as well then already as a way to already visualize it and do perform some analytics with it. And only if you go beyond that to advanced analytics capabilities, real visualization of your city, other simulation capabilities that you want to involve, then we're talking about a local digital twin. The other part of the assessment then is looking at your IT infrastructure itself. Here on the left, you see a reference architecture where, of course, there are many different parts involved. So what do you want to do with it? What kind of devices are being used? What are the business rationale behind things? data that you have, security and integration. But we are mainly looking at infrastructure itself, with which we mean your compute, network, data, storage, and infrastructure security. And these are all important to make sure that you have your data, that you can analyze your data, that you have enough computing power to perform any calculations that need to be performed, that you have a network that connects everything, and that everything is secure. One thing I do want to mention is that the roadmap itself does have references to most of these parts to make sure that, of course, everything is incorporated. But in terms of the assessment, that's really looking at your IT infrastructure itself. So in total, there are 7 chapters divided over 2 sections, many different types of questions. And here again, you have some example questions, but these are really just 4 out of the many questions that are involved in this assessment. What is important here is that there do need to be slightly more technical people involved than in the first part. And where the first part was mainly strategic, here we're really looking at all these different IT components. Again, many names. What is important that people are in the room with the required knowledge on those topics. The more in-depth view of what is actually being assessed. So you have your IoT devices along with strategy and platform, and you have your systems and applications culminating into a local digital platform, and then as well as data, storage, compute network, and infrastructure security with their respective sub-capabilities. Once this assessment is completed, so the strategy and IT infrastructure assessment as well as LORDIMAS, the results need to be analyzed and a roadmap can be made on top of that. The way that we do it is we have 5 different maturity levels, each of which has their own corresponding roadmap, and then as well as looking at answers to individual questions, looking at your maturity level for each of the different capabilities to make sure it is tailored as much as possible to the real situation of your city or community. And here you have an example. Well, you see the 5 different overall maturity levels that can be there. The definitions are not that important right now, but as you can see, it goes from absent to digital growth, each showing a higher level of maturity from a technical perspective. And this is then all summarized into a slide showing both your LORDIMAS results as well as your technical maturity results, together with some key considerations that would need to be taken into account when actually going to perform the roadmap. And talking about the roadmap, that is something that after all these assessments, we can start building. The roadmap itself consists of 3 phases, being the foundation, growth, expand, and accelerate phase. We will get into in a moment. We'll get into what each of these mean. And within each of these phases, there are different enablers and capabilities. Where enablers are a little bit more enabling the things, where capabilities are a bit more technical. But in the end, what is important to note that there are 19 different streams, each with their own initiatives defined on them, as you can see here on the right. So each of these 19 streams has a list of initiatives to really implement whatever it is that needs to be implemented for your city or community to go to the next level. Then, like I mentioned, if we take a look at what these phases actually are and the rationale behind them, the foundation phase is there to really look at everything that is underlying the eventual digital twin. So we're talking here about IT infrastructure, so all those 5 different dimensions, about IoT devices that you have, but also about your strategy, about a reference architecture that you kind of know what you're building towards, so everything that you need to progress. And in the growth phase, it is more about bringing everything together for the first time, bringing all your data together, and already building a platform on top of that with some analytics and visualization capabilities. Now, if this is already present, then we will not start with the MVP. Instead, we will start with an additional use case or an extension of the platform, just to make sure that it is all aligned. Once this is done and there's an implementation of a local digital platform, the expand and accelerate phase can start, which is really looking at implementing a local digital twin, with whatever capabilities that are required for the use cases you have envisioned. So that's really about making sure you're ready for that, making sure everybody's involved, making sure that everything that you have done so far is still aligned with where you want to go. But we'll take a brief look at that in a moment. Because here you have your reference roadmap with each of the 19 streams included in it. So as you can see, you have your digital strategy, you're going to, there's also your stakeholder experience. So you have the things that came back in the assessments, as well as additional enabling factors that are required to really make sure this is all a success. On top of that, you see here the different maturity levels and with the place that we would expect them to start. Now, this is just an indication because in the end, you can have different maturity levels for each of the different capabilities, making it that you can't really say what the exact starting point is, but this already gives you an idea of what each of them mean more or less. Then we can take a closer look at all the different streams involved in the roadmap, which are listed here. So you have your digital strategy, your governance, reference architecture, but also all the way going to your project management and expanding your strategy, the deployment of a digital twin. All these things were included in the roadmap. And each of them have their own list of initiatives to make sure there's a successful implementation. And then here's the additional list of capabilities, such as device management, compute, security. Again, all of them with their own list of initiatives. And here is a real example of a reference roadmap that we would give and that we would recommend people to develop towards. So you see each of the different streams as well as their timeline. And of course, we have here chosen for a 6-year timeline. Everything here is indicative. It is highly dependent on your current status. It's highly dependent on your procurement process, the number of people you have available, the resource you have available. But this gives an idea in terms of implementation time where you would need to work towards. Then finally, for the last slide, here we have the initiatives. So here you have the data initiative, and this is just one of the 2 slides that it would be included for this community. But each of those 90 things has their own list. So in the data initiative, you can see each of the sub-capabilities that were also tested for in the assessment, and then each with a list of initiatives under them to really define what you need to do to improve on that dimension. Additionally, you can have a calendar estimate. Also included are procurement objects, because of course for some of these we recommend procuring certain tools. So those are included, as well as in any interdependencies this initiative might have with other initiatives. That was it from my side. The next step now, if you would come to this, it would of course be the implementation of the roadmap, as well as the procurement of certain objects. This last part will then also be explained, I think, in the next part of this session, directly after when I'm done. So hopefully anything that any questions you have there can be enlightened on during that time. Other than that, I hope this has been useful to most of you, and this has clarified certain questions you may have had on how to look at where you are and how to progress towards the eventual implementation of a digital twin. If there are any questions on any of this, please feel free to reach out to me. We would be happy to assist you with any questions you may have. And other than that, I hope you have enjoyed it, and thank you all very much for listening.
Evo, mislim da smo dobili vrlo jasno prikaz metodologije za definiranje plana digitalizacije koje nam pomaže da našu viziju digitalne transformacije pretvorimo u djelotvorne korake prilagođene potrebama naših zajednica. Mislim da je možda i ovo izvrstan trenutak za krenuti u ovakvu nekakvu realizaciju. Kao što smo vidjeli, Lordimas je sjajan alat za procjenu digitalne zrelosti u kojoj smo trenutačno i onda možda razvijanje strategija, s obzirom da su nam evo na putu i lokalni izbori, neki čelnici će biti i izmijenjeni, pa možda skupa je to prilika da razvijete svoje strategije digitalizacije, odnosno nekakve temeljitije dokumente kojima biste mogli napisati svoj plan digitalne transformacije. Mislim da je to vrlo zanimljivo. Sad ono što nam slijedi je zapravo isto jedan izuzetno korisni dio, bih rekla. Kao što je kolega napomenuo, znači potrebno da bismo mogli ostvariti sve te neke korake, trebamo imati uspostavljene prave procese nabave, što nam često zadaje glavobolje. Sad tu je nastupila također Europska komisija sa svojom inicijativom gdje su izradili prilagođene predloške javne nabave koje su usklađene s načelima i standardima Europske unije. Znači, ovi predlošci su osmišljeni kako bi podržali vaš put digitalizacije, rješavanjem ključnih nedostataka i pojednostavljenjem postupaka nabave, pa idemo poslušati što nam o tome može reći Elijana.
Hello everyone, my name is Eliana Gerati. I am a manager at Interlera Consulting. Today I will be guiding you through this training session focused on the EU tailor-made procurement templates that we are currently preparing to make available for European communities. Before we dive into the content, let me walk you through the agenda for this session. First, we will start by discussing the objective of this session, the learnings and target audience. Then I will guide you through the methodology used to produce the procurement materials. Afterwards, I will provide further information on how and where to access the templates and guidelines. Finally, we will discuss how different actors can engage in the review process. Now that we've outlined the agenda, let's move on to the objective of today's session. The objective of this training is to learn how to understand and identify your procurement needs to implement enhanced ICT solutions. Additionally, I'll clarify how you can use the procurement materials provided as part of the support services for EU Smart Communities project for the acquisition of key technical components and the services needed to advance digital initiatives. By the end of this session, you will have a clear understanding of the procurement templates and guidelines and how to use them. This training supports and complements the previous training, building on the information provided and expanding on the procurement support. In particular, in this training, you will dive into the three key aspects of the procurement support offered. First, you will discover what the procurement support is about, including how to identify procurement needs and how to access the open procurement templates and guidelines. Then we will dive deeper into each of these documents. You will learn how to use the procurement templates that are composed by open and NIM compliant standard and technical specification documents and are downloadable and customizable for each community. Moreover, you will find out how you can benefit from the guidelines throughout your procurement process. This training is designed for users who are looking to advance their digitalization journey and explore the potential of local digital platforms and twins. The training can be particularly useful for the following roles: urban managers and planners, sustainability managers, digitalization and smart city experts, innovation managers, data managers, ICT managers, procurement officers. Let's dive into the journey a community carries out to implement an entity and procure its different components. The process begins when communities develop their digitalization roadmap or strategy, as explained in the previous trainings. The roadmap is a strategy document crafted based on each community's level of digital maturity. Within the roadmap, communities define the specific initiatives they will carry out to build the technical capabilities to implement local digital platforms and twins. Moving forward, based on the roadmaps, communities are able not only to pinpoint initiatives to be undertaken to deploy an LDP, but they can also identify their specific procurement needs. In fact, some of the initiatives will require the acquisition of specific smart city items and services such as IoT devices, data analytics platforms, and so on. Having defined which procurement needs will be addressed, Communities can now select the procurement templates that are useful for their needs among all the templates provided. Communities can therefore customize these documents and use them to launch the procurement processes. Along the way, procurement guidelines provide instructions on how to use the templates and how to address specific procurement-related issues. Let's go through each of these steps together now. In the previous training, you learned what a digitalization roadmap is and how to build it. Let's recap just a few aspects of the roadmaps, looking at this example of a standard roadmap. Communities can build digitalization roadmaps based on their digitalization level to clearly define a list of technical enablers and capabilities that need to be built to develop LDPs and LDTs. Some of these initiatives can consist of, for example, the development of a digital strategy and the deployment of an infrastructure strategy for storage, compute, and networks. For each of the listed enablers and capabilities, a set of initiatives will be defined together with an implementation timeline. Once communities develop the roadmap describing the relevant capabilities and enablers, they also determine a list of initiatives that are considered important for the implementation of LDPs and LDTs. In order to effectively deploy some of these initiatives, communities will need to procure some items such as on-premises computing or storage tools. These items represent the procurement needs that communities will seek to solve through procurement processes. To support communities in acquiring these items, we are making available specific templates for different procurement needs. As explained before, the procurement support material that we provide consists of both open, downloadable, and reusable templates, as well as procurement guidelines. Let's begin with the procurement templates. These templates are composed of two different documents: the tender specifications, which are the main document, and technical specifications, which are an annex of the tender document. The procurement templates are crafted based on EU legislation and are therefore suitable for procurement above threshold. Communities are invited to customize the templates, inserting information on their national legislation, adapting the content to use the template also for procedures below threshold. In particular, the tender document mainly contains the scope and description of the procurement, general tendering information, and the evaluation and award criteria. On the other hand, technical specifications cover the compliance checks and warranty, technical and functional requirements necessary for the specific procured solution, as well as minimum interoperability mechanisms, known as MIMs, which are essential for ensuring that smart city-related products or services can be integrated with existing systems and technologies. The templates are being developed in English. In the following months, the templates will be made available online to be downloaded, providing also French and German versions. The table presented contains the procurement templates that are being prepared and the items or objects that are covered by each of them. Just to give you a couple of examples, if a community needs to procure IoT devices, they can access the specific IoT devices templates. Another community might need to purchase advanced cloud computing tools or cloud automatic computing management tools, and will therefore utilize and customize the cloud computing template. Now it's the time to give you an overview of the guidelines. The guidelines aim at orienting communities in the different phases of the procurement. Broadly speaking, their first objective is to guide communities on how to use the templates. In addition, communities can refer to guidelines throughout their procurement process, especially on tender development, market engagement strategies, evaluation and award, and finally, funding and financing of the needed items. The table presents the list of guidelines covering the thematic areas just described. To give you just an example, in the thematic area related to evaluation and award, you will find 3 guidelines focusing on methods for effective supplier evaluation processes and negotiation, conditionalities definition and contractualization, and means, standards, and certifications compliance. As you know, the procurement support materials are being prepared right now by our team in collaboration with many cities and communities that are providing feedback on them to ensure they are fit for them. Hereby, we invite you to get involved in this process and get in touch with us. Participating in the revision of these materials will ensure you have a say in how these documents are being prepared. You can manifest your interest by providing your contact emails accessing this QR code, and we will reach out. Thanks very much for your interest in this topic. If there are any questions on any of this, please feel free to reach out to me. We would be happy to assist you with any questions you may have. Thank you again.
Evo ga, došli smo gotovo do samoga kraja. Pardon, samo da se ja vratim evo mene.
I'm going to jump in. Dobro jutro, everybody. I want to first say very big hvala to Francesca for organizing a wonderful event on the 9th of April, where we had some nice the hybrid dissemination event. And these sessions, today was the first of 3, are really meant to help you with the digital transformation, to give you the tools, to get empowered, to help with the transformation that we all need to face, right? So we started off talking a bit about the net zero cities and the city mission, where we have Zagreb representing the 112 EU mission cities, but we have actually a lot of wonderful Croatian cities that are taking part in these kind of initiatives. We have the mission twin cities of Krizevci and
yes.
Thank you, and Slavonski Brod. And we have a lot of cities like Poreč and Rijeka and Zadar and Sibenik taking part in these broader climate neutrality initiatives. And it's so important for Croatia to be a part of this, because as an EU member state, having to meet all of these European initiatives, climate law, the 55% reduction of greenhouse gas emissions by 2030, so many of the needs that we need to face in these upcoming years. Being a part of things like the net zero mission is so important. Getting a roadmap ready, having your assessment of how your city is doing, getting ready with all these wonderful tools that are available. So these online sessions are meant to really show you what there is available, so you can feel empowered to really do what you need to do and to have the network with you. So I'm here. I'm going to be with you guys May 28th as well for the second session. I've been putting a couple of links in the chat for you guys to get involved with Lordimas or with Online Procurement Help Desk. And I'm going to add 3 more links now. Here you're going to see in a bit, Francesca will show you the feedback form that we would ask for you guys to fill out, which would be great. And last but not least, we have the knowledge base with Living in EU. So you'll see there's a link. In the next couple of days, you will find this presentation on the knowledge base, as well as for the other 2 sessions. So if you can't make it for whatever reason, you can find the presentations there. But we would love to see you on May 28th, as well as on June 6th for the next sessions. So thank you, Francesca, for sharing the QR codes. There you can see a little bit the links that I shared in the chat as well, and the links to the tools and to the support. So we are here to help you out, and we hope to see you in the next sessions as well.
Evo, ja dijelim još i link za dobiti vaše povratne informacije koliko ste bili zadovoljni sa ovim webinarom. Moramo reći, znači, vidjeli ste snimljena videa, s obzirom da je ovo inicijativa koja se provodi na razini cijele Europske unije, dakle uključene su sve zemlje Europske unije i gradovi i općine. Zato je sve na engleskom. Ako trebate bilo kakve informacije, slobodno se možete obratiti meni ili Zoranu, možemo vas uputiti dalje. Što se tiče templeta za javnu nabavu, ja ih imam spremne, tako da ako želite ili imate potrebe već za pribavljanje nekakvih alata ili nečega, slobodno mi se možete obratiti, mogu vam to poslati, ali svakako vas pozivam da se uključite na stranicu Living in EU, zato što ćete dobiti jako puno korisnih informacija, puno lijepih priča iz ostalih zajednica i možete se također spojiti sa nekim. Kao što je Chris rekao, evo ja vas pozivam da se i uključite na naše sljedeće webinare. Sljedeći planiramo 28.5. Isto ovako u razdoblju od 9:30 do 11. Mislim da u 90 minuta dobivate stvarno pregršt informacija s kojima raspolažete. Sve ove naše sesije bit će i snimljene i jesu snimane, tako da ćete dobiti sve informacije naknadno ako u slučaju da niste mogli ste fokusirati ili ste imali nekakav sastanak ili nešto se niste mogli priključiti, tako da možete i naknadno pogledati. Ovdje vam je QR kod za priključiti se na te sljedeće sesije. Mi smo stavili to sve u jedan online upitnik i evo ako slučajno ima još bilo kakvih pitanja, na raspolaganju sam, slobodno se priključite, podignite ruku. Zorane, možda kako... Slušam, Zorane.
Prvo pohvala tebi, Francesca, pohvala i zahvala na trudu, na organizaciji ovog. Chris, thank you very much for all information, very useful for us. Svi ostali koji ste poslušali, slobodno, što je Francesca rekla, pošaljite svoje mišljenje, ideje, tu smo da vam pomognemo, znači radna skupina za ICT uvijek vole ovakvu inicijativu isto drugih ljudi, nije problem organizirati neki interni call ako mislite da vam treba pomoći, dodatne informacije, neke. Francesca sad ima, evo, stvarno dobar krug ljudi na nivou EU koji rade na tome, tako da tu smo, spremni smo za pomoć i velika pohvala za ovo. Koliko vidim, prilično veliki broj ljudi je bio prisutan, iako je ponedjeljak, morali su pomaknuti te termine zbog nekih drugih aktivnosti, malo je bilo možda kaotično, ali sve je ispalo super, vidim da ste svi cool, ponedjeljak je ono... Evo, s moje strane toliko, neću vas više dušiti.
Hvala, Zorane. Evo, ja sam stavila u chat i moj mail, isto tako Chris je dodao svoj, tako ako imate bilo kakvih pitanja, slobodno nam se javite. Hvala vam svima puno na sudjelovanju, pratimo se i vjerujem da ćete još čuti o ovoj temi. Evo, potrudit ćemo se na City Upgrade-u koji će biti održan sredinom rujna, ponoviti neke od ovih tema, jer vjerujem da je vrlo važno da to dopre do čim većeg broja ljudi i sigurna sam da će svim zajednicama biti korisno. Evo, hvala svima puno još jednom. Thank you, Chris, for joining us and for helping to make this all possible. Vidimo se. Pozdrav svima. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thanks.